Hello, everyone. Welcome to the ToroFoot Podcast. I am Milton, your host. I am a young soccer/football coach with experience in France, Brazil, the U.S., and Portugal. And this podcast, along with my good friend and colleague Phil, is a podcast to discuss about the world of soccer in all its forms, from recreational to professional to youth to women's to men's to every single thing we can think of. And it's just a great opportunity to broaden our horizons and get to know more about the game.
This broadcast is brought to you by Seiko Sonar. It's Sonar with 2 A's. You can follow us on Seiko Sonar on Twitter. That's CEICO SONAAR on Twitter. We post about the podcast. We show other topics of what we talk about in terms of what they predominantly talk about in terms of movie and film stuff as well. But this is just the soccer one.
All right, very good. And for the first topic of the day, we're going to get right into it with the breaking news of the day, the main breaking news. Marco Silva was fired, let go, sacked from and by Everton Football Club. Phil, any thoughts on this? First and foremost, you are an unabashed Chelsea fan, and you said earlier that because David Moyes might be coming in, you're a little worried because he can give them a little boost.
Well, Everton seems they can play poor for long stretches of time, but it seems that every time they play Chelsea, they have the best game of their lives. Even last season, that I cannot forget. I think Richarlison and
big fan of Richarlison.
I like him. I like his attitude. I do like his game.
I think his attitude is what I might like most about him.
Oh, really?
Actually.
Okay. I don't know. Sometimes he's a little too Same thing with Mbappe, but that's a different topic. But no, they're a very, very talented team, and I feel like with the right coach, they are between 6 and 12 on the table easily. So I'm concerned. I'm happy for improvement. I'm not a hater, but just selfishly for this weekend, I'm like, damn.
Do you think he should have been fired?
I think he should have been fired maybe 3 games ago. If we're being honest, I think they waited a little too long. I'm all for giving coaches a chance.
So this seems
nothing has really changed.
This seems like a complete turn in your
philosophy.
I
was reviewing it and I was surprised, and I was thinking about it. I was like, what has really changed for it to linger this long? And then why wait till you get eviscerated by Liverpool, who's clearly going to beat you? Like, I didn't understand that at all.
Liverpool seems to be knocking coaches off. It was Mourinho's last game, I believe, for Manchester United.
Well, that was just looking at
But would you? Well, all right. Let me ask you this. Actually, we'll get to that a little bit later. I was going to ask a question surrounding Jose Mourinho's departure, Mauricio Pochettino's departure, and Marco Silva's departure. If you could compare those, but we'll speak about Marco Silva a little bit. I thought it was a good move by Everton when he was first hired. Yeah. Young coach. I think that Portuguese coaches are some of the most fascinating, interesting in the game right now in terms of style, in terms of age. A lot of young coaches, and a lot of these coaches did not play in the professional level. André Villas-Boas, for one. Leonardo Jardim is another. Big fan of his as well. You have so many Portuguese coaches right now. Jose Mourinho, of course, at Tottenham now. Marco Silva, who just lost his job. And you have Paulo Fonseca at Roma. So many coaches out there with so much talent. I think it's truly, truly fascinating. The Portuguese system is quite intriguing, I think.
What do you think you could identify their style of football as? Like, how the Italians are known for being very stout defensively. What do you think would give the Portuguese their style? Because I don't know how to categorize. Because the Italians the only one I think I can categorize and maybe Spanish in terms of how the style of play they have. But I don't know if I have any for Portuguese.
Well,
it's a tricky question.
Is it a tricky question? Not necessarily a tricky question. I look at these coaches differently, separately for every single one. The different coaches. I haven't looked at it as a global standpoint. I mean, everyone. Yeah, of course, you say how Spain plays a certain way, and Italy plays a certain way. But even in Spain, they really do have different styles. You look at Granada, you look at Atletico Madrid, Barcelona, Real Madrid, the way they play. Different styles. Italy with and it's also the globalization of everything. So different coaches in different areas. Leonardo Jardim doesn't play quite, and it's also, of course, he's with Monaco and has a particular team, but doesn't play quite the same way as Jose Mourinho, for instance. And then, of course, you got to look at just longevity. And Mourinho started years ago at the highest level. He was already at the highest level years ago. And others, I think, arrived a little bit later, and the game changes with that. But and then I feel like defining it would be everything you hear of playing quick on the ground. It's not as possession based. It's a little bit quicker to go forward with the ball. It's not as, I wouldn't say it's as, I don't want to say, no, volatile is not the right. It's not as volatile as Brazilian soccer. It's not as quick as German soccer is sometimes to be, but it's less that's not the right word to say, ponderous than the Spanish game. But it is a game that does intrigue me, I'd say.
I'll say it ties into what you said about the young coaches, that it's very exciting. I don't think I've watched a team coached by them that is not exciting. It works through one way or another.
Really? Because Manchester United fans didn't love Mourinho's coaching.
Well, that's just a bad situation in general.
It was. But Marco Silva, I agree that it was probably time for the two teams to part. And when I looked more into it, he hasn't spent very long at any one club.
Yeah.
He does not stay very long. And I think the longest was 3 years in first team with Estoril, where he played before. Estoril.
It doesn't seem to be his. Well, I think in World Cup
depends on the situation as well. But I think a lot of it is ambition, and then it could be just personality. Look, Thomas Tuchel apparently doesn't get along too well with executives where he goes. Antonio Conte, Jose Mourinho.
It might be growing pains too, because he is still a young coach.
He's still a young coach, 42 years old. I still think he has quite a bit of talent. Okay. I think he should go somewhere where he can, maybe, I don't want to say lick his wounds a little bit, but take his time, really figure out what he wants to do, because it's everything surrounding it as well. It's not just the club. It's, are you good at home? Is everything going well? Do you know the language? Are you mastering everything? And then going somewhere where maybe the expectations are a little bit lower, because when he came in, expectations were high. I had high expectations. Richarlison was there with them. I like Tom Davies a lot. Ademar Lukman, who left, I like him a lot as well. Hirimina, Zuma's no longer there, but liked him a lot. Seamus Coleman.
Here's a curious.
Good players.
You said you had high expectations. Not to say that the rest of us do not, but what was that based on? Because if we look at his track record, it hasn't been fantastic.
It was the good work he had done with Watford. It had been the good work he had done with Watford before that inquiry. Everton threw them off. And then it was based on his progression, the clubs he went through, how he had experience in various countries, the ambition he obviously had, the fact that he was young. A lot of it, I'm not gonna lie, was hope. Like I like seeing anyone when they get a new take a step up, because Everton is a step up from Watford, if we're honest. Take a step up in their career. Even if Olympiacos was a big club, Sporting big club, of course, this was a Premier League, a great chance to do something. So a lot of it was hope, but I also I believed that he had a plan. He wanted Richarlison with them. I saw it in him. He wanted the progression, and then I was looking at the games, and at times I wasn't sure how they wanted to play, and it was unfortunate.
That's where kind of with any coach, I kind of think trying to find out between what the plan was going in and if it's being executed by the players. Because I do not think, based off what I've seen from him previously, that he's someone to go with just a haphazard type situation where figure out what you want to do and kind of have everyone free roll. I think there's some organization with some structure, but after a certain amount of time, I think when you go on a losing streak, you're not having a good time, players stop buying in. And once players stop buying
darn
in,
certain.
And that doesn't really work well. Everyone else.
That free roll idea, I think, is very, very interesting. Okay, because people seem to think, you just organize. I think it was Graham Souness was saying on Sky Sports, you just organize your team, make sure they're focused and organized defensively, and then you get players, you get them wide, you attack, and you put balls into the box. It's simple, and I couldn't help but think, if it was that simple, why do so many managers struggle? If it was that simple, why do world-class managers that are maybe better than Graham Souness, why have they struggled? And things like that. And it's not that simple. And people say, someone told me Guardiola lets his players roam and do what they want. That is not true at all.
If you know the man, there's no way you honestly think that can be true.
Or even Jurgen Klopp, like just the simple drills of, for instance, you got to complete I don't know how many, let's say 8 passes. Oh, that's a lot. Let's say 4 passes in this one quadrant here towards the bottom left before a particular forward can enter an area into the top middle. These are drills that are done, and that means that the movements are conditioned, which shouldn't be the least bit surprising for this high level. And so we went off topic of DeMarco Silva, but that was a tangent I had to say because I keep on hearing oh yeah, no, he doesn't do this. It's free flowing. He lets the players roam. That's why they enjoy it so much. No, it's not. It's not like that.
So it may not be free flowing per se, but the structure is there. I think sometimes when people see things played at pace, they take it for granted. They don't see how much work is done in the background to get that. So the flow is easy and the transition is more seamless. So talking about more of a free roll, think about Jose, what he's doing for Delhi right now. I'm thoroughly impressed with what I'm seeing. First of all, I like to talk about, as a Chelsea fan, it was kind of interesting to see him go to Tottenham. I of course grew up here in America, so I don't have the same type of disdain some Chelsea fans have for Tottenham.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still an odd. Like Man United one was probably a tough one for me personally. But
that was strange to say the least.
So then Tottenham was. It was weird because I'm happy for him personally because I do have a lot of love for the man. And then seeing him go to a good situation with such good players, it's like, well, we might be able to do something now. And then just seeing him do well early on pleased me. Of course, you see with the defensive struggles and something he's going to be concerned about, but I think the coaching change was one that's probably very good. I think when I saw the change, I had a basketball reference for those that watch basketball. I was thinking of Mark and Steve Kerr.
Mark Jackson and Steve Kerr.
Yeah. Golden
State Warriors.
So it was one that clicked to me like, okay, could this be what takes us to the next level? Because Mark Jackson laid down the foundation just like Poch did. So could Jose take them to the next level? And it's really early, and the Man United game is happening with it just lost. I have not watched the highlights yet, so I've not seen how that happened. But I did watch the highlights. Okay. Rashford was cooking. But it's a tough game, but I think he has a chance a few games down the line to really show what quality he can bring to them with some more stout defensiveness. But what he's doing for Delhi is amazing. Great thoughts.
You made a few comments that I would like to pick at if I can remember them all. First and foremost, you said, I forgot what you said. I should have wrote it down. First and foremost, you said, yes, the Mark Jackson, Steve Kerr comparison, I think, is inadequate and no, actually completely off the mark on this one. I gotta say, it's completely off the mark because the Golden State Warriors had young players that were coming up, and that was their main core. This core, you have Christian Eriksen, who can leave in the summer for free, Jan Vertonghen, who can leave in the summer for free, Toby Alderweireld, who can leave in the summer for free. And of these three, they likely all will, or at least 2 of them will. Harry Kane is going to consistently have big clubs sniffing over him. Delhi as well. Son, I don't know how teams haven't come in for him harder. I am as you know, you as well are huge fans of this. He is. I'm a big fan of him. Love him to death. So it lacks rejuvenation. There was 5 years. Oh, there you go. On the ToroFoot website, that is gonna be up and running soon. We wrote an article about this, about Tottenham Hotspur in particular, and let me just find it real quick. So, Danny Rose has been at the club for 12 years. Yeah. Harry Kane, 8 years. Jan Vertonghen and Hugo Lloris, he's won a World Cup. Who else has won anything in this team? 7 years. Christian Eriksen, Eric Lamela, 6 years. Eric Dyer, Dele, and Heung-min Son, 5 years. And Toby Alderweireld, 4 years. No, it's not. I didn't mean it's slow. It wasn't meant to be low. He's won the World Cup. Yeah. He's won with Lyon and Ligue 1 as well. He has had success. I believe he won with Lyon. Or did he leave before that? He's had success, but the rest of the team hasn't. And you would think that would be the spark. Yeah, Mourinho arrives. He's a serial winner. Boom. But the team, part of this team is old. And more importantly, part of this team has been in the same situation. Sure, the coaching staff is new. So they're hearing new voices, not just from Mourinho, but from the coaches, the assistant coaches like Sacramento, who everyone's talking about now, who just arrived from Lille. But some of them want to leave. Yeah. Some of them feel they should be making more money, and they should, and haven't been paid the same as the other big stars in other clubs, even though Tottenham started changing their wage structure, the loyalty isn't going to be there as much. The hunger isn't going to be there as much. You have teams constantly calling for you. No. Mourinho, for me, will not succeed with this group of players, almost entirely in part because I don't think he'll have this group of players.
Okay, so
I think a core will leave. So I don't think that's the right argument because the core won't be the same and he won't take that next core elsewhere. However, and also since they will likely leave for free unless they're able to sell them in January. They won't make money off of those sales. They will recover money from the wages they lose. Daniel Levy isn't known for spending a lot, but hey, if he's going and getting Mourinho, maybe something has changed. I think both Tottenham and Mourinho have taken a risk on each other.
Yeah.
ESPN mentioned, and maybe Sky Sports as well, that maybe Tottenham is up for sale and getting the most talked about, the most controversial, the most conversation-inspiring manager in the world for a club in London with bankable stars might up the price of the team.
I think that's fantastic marketing if that's the case.
We'll see, but you still have to believe that Mourinho still has that special magic. And I am quoting directly the article I finished writing today about that, actually. But I don't think he will take them to the next level with this core.
Okay,
and then you just have to trust that Daniel Levy will invest.
I will say, you said with this core, okay, so I think the 2 points you just put up could really change the course of what happens with them. Number one, if they're bought, we saw what happened with Abramovich.
We saw what happened with Malaga as well. Just because you're bought doesn't mean it goes well. Or AC Milan. Okay.
Wow. Oh, come on now.
I'm sorry. Philip is a passionate Milan fan. That was not meant to be a shot, honestly.
Well, actually,
it was just went straight to me.
How they had coaches and managers in 5 years, like the number is too high for both.
It is
coaches, managers, and,
everything, just everything.
Owners, yeah, just horrible. But okay, I'm shook by that.
That was not fair. But yes, there is a chance it becomes an Abramovich situation, but it depends on the owner.
That's number one. Number two, I think if we give Jose his credit for what he can do with man management, he may surprise us. I think Eriksson is for a foregone conclusion. He's out.
Yeah, it seems like
that's fine.
Yeah, it seems like it.
He was after Alderweireld for a while.
Yes.
And I think he continues to praise him, especially after the long balls he played in the game against West Ham.
That doesn't mean you praise someone.
Oh, no.
Doesn't mean he won't leave. You said I'm nice? I'm going to stay. I want to get paid, and I want to win titles.
You courted him, and he knows what you're bringing to the table.
Is Tottenham 1, 2, or 3 levels beneath City and Liverpool right now? And are any of them getting weaker?
Wait, well, I'll say 2 levels below them.
That's huge.
Well, actually, no. I'll say 2 levels with Poch. We don't know what level it could be with Jose.
Nah, all right. Well, let's continue to respect Mauricio, please.
I'm not trying to no disrespect to Pochettino, but we saw there was a stalemate. And I don't think it's because of him. I think if he had the players, the maturity they were is in his 3rd year, and that was his 1st year, I think they would have done great work.
Well, the cycle ended. He didn't appear to want to be there anymore, and and when you don't want to be somewhere, people can feel it. And he even said that he would have left if the team had won the Champions League. It was bold. Daniel and him, they struggled with transfers and making decisions. And then the simple fact is, for a coach, it's not just players need to hear new voices. Coaches need to be able to talk to new players because they will get tired of you. And also, got to mention that sometimes coaches need new assistants around them. Look at Liverpool. Well, that's a particular subject. But Liverpool and Mourinho, for instance, he is entirely new backroom staff. He lead the football club for a while. Saw the training sessions was improved by some of the coaches and brought them along with them. As I mentioned, Sacramento.
That's nice. Well,
so that shows that maybe he really did learn as he said he has. But you said man management. I got to pick at the man management. That we act like he's the perfect man manager. He is not. But he is a great man manager. But we cannot ignore Real Madrid. We cannot ignore Chelsea both times because apparently that first time it was starting to weigh on a few players as well. Though they seem to deny it. And I don't think it's I wouldn't say it's as bad as people say. I wasn't there. And then Manchester United. That's 3 situations in which that man management wasn't good enough. And don't forget that these are young, new players. I'm saying this, Jose, but if you ever hear this, I'm still a big fan. If you're looking for a new coach, no, I'm kidding. But that management, these are new players. I wouldn't call them soft, but you can't talk to them the same way you talked to them earlier, and he has to evolve with that. But and the fact that he has kids might help him evolve to that.
I think, and a lot of people have said this, and I wholeheartedly believe it, that break helped him. Because I think...
Oh, most definitely.
When you've been that consistent from top club to top club to top club to top club, no one can tell you nothing.
Oh,
are you serious? You can say, what? Okay, check my cabinet.
Which he did consistently. And when you win as much as he does, in the way he does...
What can you really say to him?
Yeah, honestly, I wouldn't say I modeled myself. Don't model myself after anyone in particular, but I take things from a lot of coaches. Mourinho most definitely. I cannot for certain say it was Arrigo Sacchi that said a coach is a lion tamer. And anytime you show fear to the lion, it's over for you. Mourinho would never show fear. And it's not just that he would never show fear. You had the impression he didn't have that fear. He had a big ego, and that is a compliment. You can only make it at these clubs if you have a big ego. But I was going to mention a coach that didn't. That would have been unnecessary. I'm not going to do that.
Well, I'm trying to think about... And from what I've seen, and like I said, I may have some slight bias because I do believe
you do, but it's okay.
Strong affection for this man. But you can see it in his. I think when he left Sky Sports, they were talking about him, and these are the same people that talked about him when he was at Man United. And after he spent some time there, your voices have changed a lot about you talk about him. It's not any negative responses to him leaving, not negative responses to his new situation. It's very positive. I
still think they respected him even when they were at Manchester United. For instance, Gary Neville, I'm a big fan of how he speaks. Yeah, he's very respectful. He did good image repair.
I think it was, yeah, he did.
I mean, I'm not saying like it was on purpose or whatever, but it resulted.
The best thing about him doing that job is it showed his knowledge. People take him for granted sometimes, but when you can sit down and pick out aspects of the game and really dictate it to people, they really start to respect. Oh, he knows what he's talking about.
I heard everyone saying that, and I never really understood it. I was like this is Mourinho. He's got nothing to prove to anyone. Well, he has something to prove maybe to his players and to the people around him, but to people on social media, people watching TV, me and you, he's got nothing to prove to us. Yeah. But I get what you're saying, like, oh yeah, maybe it'll get people off his back a little bit. All right, sure. And maybe the fans will be a little bit calmer because fans do play a role in this. But I personally was like, oh, man, yes, this is great that he's doing this. I was like, I mean, it's good for him, keeping him busy, keeping him in the game, also earning a check and all these things. But I was never like, oh, it was good image repair. That I would say. But I didn't, like, if you didn't know that Mourinho he was a genius. I'm sorry, he is a footballing genius. All right, I don't think that's said enough about him. He is. It's an art and a science, and he has mastered both. It really is. But if you don't know that he's one of the best in this game at it, you don't know the game personally. You don't know the game.
I'll say, like I said before, I really think that break helped him.
It definitely did.
I think it humbled him, and not to say he's not going to have the fire that he has inside him. I think that's some of his best qualities, honestly. And I think
definitely
some of these players need that fire lit under their bottoms. Like, it's something that needs to happen.
That might be what went wrong or has gone wrong with Arsenal for so long. Unai Emery, Freddie Ljungberg.
Have they had a tough coach? No disrespect to Arsene Wenger. I don't see him as authoritarian. How about you?
Tough and authoritarian to me are different. No, he's not authoritarian or at least not with the players, from what I can tell.
I think you're right. He's probably still a tough coach, but authoritarian.
I don't know. Maybe.
I think when he or someone at a club that long, just like with Alex Ferguson, you leave a stamp.
And that's gonna take a while to get past. People forget that we haven't seen this with any other clubs. Arsenal, Manchester United are the only clubs at the highest level that have had a coach for this long in recent times. In recent times, and so we expect them to be like, oh, now you got to move, you got to find success again. But this is unprecedented, and maybe in history, when you stay that long at a club, it would be, the precedent would be for there to be a dip. We'll see how Atletico Madrid does with Diego Simeone once he's gone. But Unai Emery, I think I was in the majority with most people being very disenchanted with the choice. I personally, I don't have a horse in this, So I wanted to see something fun and interesting. But then I gave myself time to think about it, and I was like, all right. I actually convinced myself Unai Emery, this is a good choice. He'll be there 3-4 years, maybe 2, but 3-4 years, and it'll be good stuff. He'll take them to top 5 on a consistent basis, maybe top 4, and then move on. He would be a transitional coach. I didn't think he'd be a big time. This was not the type of transition I was thinking. I wasn't thinking he'd be fired for doing so poorly, but I was thinking he's leaving Neymar and PSG. He's gonna go somewhere where he feels that a club truly wants him, and that has a structure now. They have a plan, and he will have something to prove. He's not going to let anyone decide for him who plays, who doesn't play. He's going to be the man. He's going to have something to prove. He's going to bring it, and he's going to want to refine that Unai Emery from Sevilla. He didn't.
He didn't. I think I was maybe in the same fold in the way you're thinking about. I think with that thinking, maybe it doesn't look disservice to other teams in the Premier League a little bit. Because we did not count on Leicester being so good. We didn't count on West Ham's early start. We didn't count on Sheffield doing so great.
Does Arsenal have a better team than most of those clubs, those teams there?
Oh, no.
And then it's a failure on Arsenal.
Fair enough. Okay.
If these teams are playing at their highest, but if Arsenal were playing at their highest, Arsenal would be higher, then it's a failure on Arsenal.
Good question. You think they're playing at the highest right now versus Leicester?
I said some of those teams. The reason I said some of those teams, because I'm a big fan of James Maddison. I think Jamie Vardy is an absolute dog and a killer in and around the penalty area. They have good. I love Schmeichel. They have a good defense. I've been waiting for Tielemans for about. I might even say 4 or 5 years now. More, yeah. Honestly, I was. When he was in Belgium, I was like, when is he coming out? Why is taking so long? United with Ferguson was interested, and he arrived. He went to Monaco and then to Leicester, and I was like, and I'm happy he was able to stay at Leicester. Then it's they've got. I like Albrighton as well. Yeah, Nacho. I was surprised that he's still playing a role, and I'm glad he is because I had high hopes for him. I'm forgetting 1 or 2, of course. Jose Perez. Anyway, I think exactly. Yeah. Brendan Rodgers is absolutely squeezing every ounce of quality out of them, and that is not a disservice to the players because they are playing at a high, very high level. But Unai Emery, to me, was not the right choice for Arsenal. That was my first instinct, and then I convinced myself otherwise. And I still think if I don't understand what it was an awkward situation, but I gotta admit I don't want to criticize too much. I don't understand what he was trying to do.
I think they need a culture shock. I think they need a culture shock.
Did you hear that Diego Simeone might be on their wish list? That'd be fun, but I'm not sure that the club can handle that.
I don't think they're ready, number one.
I don't think the club can handle that.
I don't think he put themselves in a bad situation.
And Simeone that'd be a step down right now.
He's known for defense.
That'd be a step down for now.
Give him this defense, and I'm a big David Luiz fan in terms of who he is as a person, but I think you said it yourself, he needs a strong partner.
He does. He does.
Sometimes.
And so that brings up the question. People have been shocked, apparently, by Freddie Ljungberg's first Arsenal lineup. And I wasn't able to watch the game, but I did look at the lineup. And when people react to something so viscerally, so quickly, I immediately try to take a step back and be like, all right, how serious is this? Why are we acting like this? But I did look at the lineup and I said, I was like, oh man, Mustafi. When he first arrived, I was like, yeah, okay. I think he came from Valencia. Was it Cologne? You said?
I thought it was German.
I'm thinking of Paulista. No, it is Mustafi. I was right. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
No, he is German.
He is German. That's what I was thinking of.
I was right, and I was like, oh, this is a good signing. He's won with Germany. He's had success, and it just has not worked out at all. And so I didn't understand putting him there in from the cold next to Luiz even more.
For your first game?
And then you have Shaq in front of him.
For your first game?
And Caleb Chambers at right back, Guendouzi, of whom I'm a big fan. Love Guendouzi. I just didn't for your first game and away from home. I do
not get it.
But then the question is, who'd you put? You have Shkodran Mustafi, David Luiz, and Socrates. I'm not gonna say his last name.
I'm not a coach. I'm not a coach.
And I don't think a back three is the.
I think you got to change shape a little.
And Caleb Chambers, of course, and Rob Holding. Is he even fit yet? I believe he is. He's been struggling. I like Rob Holding, but
I think you have to change shape. I think he's still hurt. But I think you have to change shape because what you're doing does not work. You've gone between. You've gone three at the back.
They've done a few things. Before. They've done. Yep.
Yeah, so he's searching.
And he didn't. Emery didn't know his best team, and that right there. First off, for those that haven't experienced it, that feels horrible. That is not a good feeling. That is not a good feeling. This is perfect because I don't know what I was reading, but a quote. I saw a quote and it was perfect for this, and I said I absolutely love this quote, and I saved it. So the quote is by Arthur Rowe, former boss of Tottenham's famous push and run 1950-1951 side. He said, "Write down your starting lineup at the start of the season. During the course of the campaign, when things get tough and your mind is confused, take out the piece of paper and have a look. You will probably come to the conclusion that your original idea was the best one." And that is something I've lived by for a while. I've been trying to live by for a while now without knowing the quote. And I thought about it in terms of soccer, and I was like, you know what? That is a fair point. You can always be wrong, but that's the thing. That first analysis has to be good. It's all well and good to put the work ethic in and to have passion and desire, but you also have to be competent. You have to be good at what you do. And I think Emery is, but I don't think he knew his best team. And the situation with Ozil was very, very tense and complicated. And now Freddie Ljungberg has come in, and I was confused. People were saying, oh yeah, he's going to try to get a job. Of course he's going to want the job. This is a chance, this is an audition. And in my mind, I was thinking, why would they give him the job?
Well, I think that we go through the Ole type syndrome, where it's like
they go through the Pep syndrome, which was just an article on Sky Sports, and they said that the Pep Guardiola is a myth. That the former champion, the former player of the team, it comes in and rises. That doesn't happen. Pep Guardiola is one of a kind, guys. All right, like why do we immediately think? First off, people that think because you're a great player, you're going to be a great manager, is false. Or if you're a great midfielder and had a great mind, is also false. You've said it about certain players, and I'm like, but we're not going to bring those players in. I'm not trying to disrespect them, but there's so much more that goes into it. And Freddie Ljungberg, I have nothing against him. It's just like if you have Massimo Allegri out there, who I do like. Actually, we're going to look at a few of the others here. Marcelino, who I actually think would be a good option for he's formerly of Valencia. Good option for Everton. You have Laurent Blanc, who's been out of the game for 3 years. You have Luciano Spalletti, who I don't think would be a good fit.
I don't think he would be a good fit.
And you have Pochettino out there, and those are coaches that are currently out of a job. You wouldn't be able to get Nagelsmann with Leipzig, though. That would be so much fun. That would be so fascinating. Patrick Vieira would be interesting. Arteta, he just arrived, and Red Bull is. He's not having a good time. Their structure is fantastic. Vieira is Vieira. I think would just be. I sent you a list actually of people who would be the most fun for me to see coach Arsenal right now, and I said the most interesting fun would be Simeone number 6, Nagelsmann number 5, Rodgers number 4, Arteta number 3, 2 Poch, and Gerrard number 1 in terms of most fun and interesting. And who should be, it would be Poch number 1, Allegri 2, Eddie Howe 3, Vieira 4, Arteta 5, Ljungberg 6. Even though Eddie Howe is maybe concerning a few people now.
I think I was very steadfast on thinking that Mikel Arteta would be the next.
People are talking about him. People love him.
I think
people love him.
I think from what I've
Pep
seen,
loves him.
Pep definitely loves him. I think people are saying they're not sure, depending on if Pep believes, they think he's the successor for his Man City job.
Well, Vieira was maybe looking to be where they had him in mind before he decided to go his own way, which good for him making your own decisions. Arteta probably is the heir to the throne, if you will, and it would make sense. And then we will see, because assistant and head coach is different.
Two different jobs.
Very, very different. And then it depends on the makeup of the team. It depends on the backing of the club, because Pep Guardiola got backing like maybe no other coach ever to arrive in a new club.
Well, I'll say this, and I know this is just more of a playful throwout. I mean, he has a pretty good system. Can be very similar to Guardiola's.
What is he about to say?
He has very good players.
Let me guess. See if I can guess.
How are you gonna mess this up? That's how you go into it. That's my mindset.
Well, it depends on when Guardiola leaves.
You want to leave your stamp. I'm pretty sure. You want to maybe tweak a few things here and there, but it would be astounding to me outside of what they have.
It's also the personality. What people don't forget, and what Emre did not have is that connection with the players. Yeah, you have to have that connection with the players, and when you go from Guardiola the way he is to anyone else, is going to be difficult. But Arteta does seem to have that He does seem to have that fire, that passion. I think he'd be able to connect with players. I like him. I like him a lot. Now, however, though, there's a surprise here. Well, you were warned that we could be doing this, but you don't know the topics. This is going to be our fire session. All right. 10 topics. He has a minute per topic to discuss on what he thinks. I haven't told him what the topics are. This is going to be a complete surprise.
I'm intrigued.
So just be ready for it, okay? Just relax, okay? I am going to try to bother you a little bit with some of these, and a few other of these are going to be simple and fun, okay?
It's been long minutes.
So, actually, it was going to be a short minute because I've done this one,
okay.
And a minute isn't long enough. So, are you ready for our fire session? Or maybe we should think to add some sound effects for next time.
I'm with it.
All right, we'll look for some fire. All right. So, you ready?
I'll set a timer for myself.
I got it right here. I'll let you know.
Okay.
All right, ready? And first topic is David Villa or Sergio Aguero?
Damn.
I was just thinking about this
I think Aguero. Now, a reason I say that is because you need goals. As much as I think I'm a big fan of building a strong midfield, because I think it anchors both your attack and defense. David Villa's. Oh, damn it! Shit. Okay.
He was a forward.
I would say Aguero. I'll say Aguero based off what I'm thinking. I'll think it's Silva for a second, but yeah, Villa.
You're thinking David Silva?
Yeah, I'm thinking Silva for a second, but definitely Aguero. Aguero.
Should we give him 20 more seconds? Because now they understand what we're talking about.
So David Villa is a little more flexible.
Fair. True. And he did have to sacrifice a bit of his game for Messi.
I do not forget what he was doing for us, regardless in Barcelona.
He scored everywhere he's gone.
It's really hard to say no.
He's gone everywhere he's gone.
I'm gonna say Villa because he passed.
Oh, he said Villa. Fair enough. That is a discussion we need to have because I asked someone else, and someone else said David Villa because he's always been more decisive, and I was like,
okay.
And I had to go and.
That's a strong point.
I had to go and look it up just to be, but we'll get on to that.
I'm gonna say passing. That's
next one.
Okay, go.
AC Milan or United to rise from the ashes first?
United. That's an easy one for me. I'm an AC Milan fan, and we are trash. Unless we get a good owner, number one, and keep that owner for at least 5 years. At least 5 years. Pick a coach or two coaches, max in 5 years, and start picking some freaking defenders. I do not understand how, in all this time, are you buying attacking players? And none of them are panning out. Why are you spending money on this? It makes zero sense to me at all. Buy some defenders that are good. Not ones it could be all right. No. Buy some that are good. Solidify your defense. Donnarumma's actually a good goalkeeper, a good young goalkeeper. Give him some backing. Give him some cover. It frustrates me so much that they let this club fall from grace while Inter is rising. It frustrates me. Oh my gosh. I really need that to work, and I see United is just much easier for them because they have money. And that's what's always been their stinking money. All right? Yeah, stinking money.
All right, then. That was, I didn't have a chance to put a word to you. As you can see, he was very, very, very passionate about that. Very passionate about that. Now, next one up is, who are your top for the Euros?
That'd be in order?
Euro 2020. No, just say it.
I'm going to say...
Ask questions. You have a minute.
Surprise, England.
Don't be cheeky.
Belgium,
just pick who you think you're going to be best.
The Dutch. And then I'm going to give France a little surprise, even though they're in the group of death.
So wait, France is a surprise. They just won the World Cup.
No. I'll say as one that I think it's hard to sustain success, people.
But they're younger.
They are just younger. Oh, yeah? Oh, you're right.
They're younger than
other
teams that have won the
If
World
they
Cup.
do what they did in 94, 98, and was it 2000?
2002.
Yeah, about to say.
Oh, you mean 2000? Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
2000.
that little run they had. then I can believe it.
Oh,
I do not necessarily think they will do the same thing because let's not forget their poor group stages, and if some results go a different way, they don't get what they are.
So you said Belgium, England, France, and the Netherlands.
The Dutch, Netherlands, my guys.
Not Portugal,
nope.
Not Spain,
Nope.
Italy,
Nope.
Croatia.
Nope. Croatia's old.
Oh, that's been more than a minute right there, isn't it?
But I wasn't talking, so I was fine with it.
Okay, then. All right, next up. Ooh, this is fun.
Him,
Current favorite women's player.
Oh, come on, man! It gotta be the homie just signed.
Oh yeah,
the homie just signed.
What's the homie's name? No. What's the homie's name? If you don't look at you, if she's the favorite.
I know it's Kerr, but I'm saying I'm trying to think. I don't know if I would go.
I'm surprised it'd be Sam Kerr, really.
Well, no, I'm thinking it'd be her, Martins.
Yes. Oh, Martins. Oh, okay.
No, I like.
I thought you were gonna say Marta.
Well, Marta is one that's what. Marta's like the Ronaldo phenomenon, the one you just have in your heart. You can't.
You never take them out.
Yeah, never take that out.
So she's still.
So I was gonna say, what's the German one? I can't remember her name off the top of my head right now.
Jennifer Morrison.
Yes. So I really like her. So I think between those
she's
three,
fantastic.
Those three, Rapinoe, of course. That's a tough one. Well, see, I like
Rapinoe.
That's a, well, I always say Rapinoe. I don't know why. Rapinoe just sounds. Nah, fine. That's like, gonna say it the right way, I guess. I would say Sam Kerr just signed for Chelsea as homegirl, and she's a beast.
I'm a huge Sam. Honestly, I'm a fan of so many players on that. Oh, that's a minute. All right, next up. This is an interesting one. We were actually just talking about Italian coaches. So, favorite Italian coach?
Ooh. Oh, my gosh. For my youth, it was definitely Ancelotti. I mean, that was my guy.
Carlo.
That was my guy. Still is my guy, honestly. I love seeing him succeed. And then the Christmas tree is still lovely to see.
For those that don't know, we're talking about the famous Milan Christmas tree, the formation, the 4-3-2-1.
Conte won my heart over when he played. I love passionate coaches. You know that.
Of course.
I love Simeone. I love Mourinho. I love Conte. I love it. So it would be a tight draw between my youth and my current age.
Who could we say? Sarri, Capello.
Capello, I like the name and I like the vibe. Fabio Capello is a fun name to say, honestly.
It is. It's a very it's a powerful name.
I'm missing one person I actually really loved. That's on my head.
Powerful name. That would be Di Matteo. Inzaghi as a coach?
No, I like him in general. So yeah.
Oh.
I'll say Conte.
You're done. Okay.
Yeah, Conte.
All right. Better future coach, Xabi or Xabi Alonso?
Well, it's a tough one. See, this ties into the conversation about the midfielders. And
the midfielders.
You're saying that
about
they have the mind they have,
yes,
and how that can translate.
I know who I choose.
I know who you choose.
It's not about me.
I know who you choose to.
It's about you.
I know, and you know
they're both coaching right now.
I know
they're both coaching right now.
I'm very aware.
Okay.
I personally think it would be Xavi, and the reason I think it would be Xavi because he has so much information. I'm kidding. They're both fantastic. This was more biased than anything else. I think they're both going to be fantastic. I think they both have early struggles because I think the mentality between what you have between the mindset between offense and defense, I think is interesting. So there's the balance that they each have, but I think Xabi Alonso may have more defense. Xabi Alonso has a little more offense, and so what they could bring to their players.
I think you just said Xabi Alonso and Xabi Alonso again. But you have to make a choice.
Why I said Xavi is good.
All right.
I know you don't say Xabi Alonso personally, but it's Xavi.
I haven't said anything. All right, next one up is who in the world of your history as a fan has been your biggest disappointment when he started off as a youth star?
Pato.
Of course. Why didn't I think of him? I knew. Oh, of course it'd be. Oh.
Yeah, it's gotta be Pato.
Oh my goodness, I was excited.
I can probably think of some other ones that hurt me, but none hurt me more than Pato.
You see, Bojan Krkic, Lukas Piazon, Theo.
Wait, okay.
Munir.
So I would say, you hit some chords right there. That class of Barca was. That's why I'm so glad to see Adama Traore doing so well. But that class of Barca hurt my soul. I thought it'd be so much better. Theo was just a personal favorite. Cristiano's my guy.
Sergio Canales. I don't know if you remember him.
I remember him, but I think you cannot beat Pato. That's my firm decision. I will say that there's this one
Robinho, if you consider him not having reached the heights.
I'm not gonna say anything there because it's not gonna be nice or conducive. But I like Robinho. Don't get me wrong. I love Robinho. Okay. I love Robinho.
Can't really, because it doesn't seem like it.
It just the comment will not be positive.
It's over, Spato.
Yeah, Spato.
All right, make a decision. All right.
Before your next one.
No. It's a fire session. All right. Now, who's gonna have the better career? Or who would you prefer to have, or who would you think is more successful? Who do you think is better? I'll let you pick any one of those: Trent Alexander-Arnold or Matthijs de Ligt.
I saw a stat, I think I sent you today, that Trent has many years to reach and pass what Paul Scholes has in terms of assists. Yes, so he has 37. He's
gonna reach Paul Scholes.
He's gonna way earlier
destroy Paul Scholes.
They gave 438 games, but I don't think he has reached that based off what he's doing right now.
Sorry.
So I'm thinking it's going to be Trent. Because as much as I like the Ligt, I think we've seen...
And he's been struggling this year.
I think we've seen where his struggles will be. And I think especially...
Go ahead.
Being in Italy where defense is at a premium...
Right, of course.
I think he will become a really good defender. Mm-hmm. But I think the struggles early on will kind of add some chinks in his armor to the public. To me personally...
That begs another question, but we can't...
It's Trent. Trent to me.
Trent. All right. And last two. Last two. It's going to be a or again. All right. So questions like this. Who would you take? Miroslav Klose or Lukas Podolski? Grew up with both of them. Killers.
Honestly,
killers for Germany.
I've always had something for Klose.
I do remember this.
He's had I like Lukas Podolski, but yeah, Klose. Both interesting.
Both Polish.
I was gonna say the exact same thing.
Origin. Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Polish origin, play for Germany. Very interesting. But it has to be Klose for me. I think what he did in the World Cup, what he's did in the leagues have been outstanding. Mm-hmm. And I like the dude. And I like tall strikers. I don't know about you. I really like tall strikers.
I don't know if I have an affinity like more than for smaller strikers.
Well, no, I mean because
I
think the two positions in football you have to be tall in was all three, I guess. Goalkeeper, center back, forward. Mm-hmm. And so I like that atypical style a little bit, especially when they're more nimble, which he's not.
Oh, you mean a tall player who's atypically gifted with his feet and coordinated.
Yes.
Okay. All right, last one of the fire session. Who would you take? Ricardo Carvalho or Carlos Puyol?
Ooh, that's not nice.
That's why we left it.
He's a jerk for this one.
That's why we left it for the end.
He's a jerk for this one.
Yes, sir.
Wow, I am hurt inside.
I couldn't say Terry and Puyol. I knew who you'd pick.
No, actually, that would be tough too. All those would be tough. I don't know who to pick. You saw how difficult was the coach thing some of the other day.
We have another colleague over here who's not joining us in today. Who's staring at Phil, trying to see what he's going to say.
I'm very interesting because someone who didn't want to join, but he keeps sending me looks over here like, "Hey, you want either talk or don't." That's all I'm saying.
No, don't waste time. You have 30 seconds now. Less.
I don't want to answer this question. Sheesh.
Hey, you're the type of fan that yells at the TV at players for not being courageous.
El Capitan,
do the same.
Man, El Capitan. It might have to be El Capitan, man. I don't know. But it's Cavallo. I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know. They're both fantastic defenders. Cavallo better with the ball at his feet. Puyol better in terms of structure. I have to say, I don't know.
I was gonna say maybe for the fire sessions we'll give you one freebie, one Audi per session.
This one has to be maybe if I have more than 1 minute, I can have better, but it's hard to.
That's why it's called a fire session. It's called a fire session.
I can't do that one. How about you? What do you think?
Oh no, I'm not on the spot. I'm not on the spot.
Isn't that convenient?
I'm not on the spot, am I?
But
I'm not on the spot.
Nah, man. I'm actually thoroughly sick.
That's why we left it for you.
Well, let me put you on the spot then.
Well, weren't we moving on to the next topics?
The next topics we're moving on to. Let me put you on the spot real quick.
All right, go ahead.
Since you are a coach, sir.
Okay. Okay.
Coach questions for you.
Oh, okay.
So I was thinking, and I had a few questions with all these coaching changes, hires, and fires.
Most def.
I do definitely think it's I want to get inside the mind of a coach. So, given that you're growing in your career and climbing, and you played at you worked at different clubs, do you think it is always good to leave a club gracefully, like Quique Sanchez Flores did, or do you think you leave?
You mean when they left Watford?
Left Watford.
Watford, yeah.
The second time.
First time.
Sorry, I think about the coach. Do you think it's
the only
better go that way, or a little leave I'll say impact?
Leaving? What do you mean? Leave an impact like Mourinho or Conte have?
I mean,
it's always better to go gracefully. I've always, from what I can tell, at least from my part, I've always left a club in good standing when I've had to leave. I think I've had a positive impact on them. They've certainly had a positive impact on me. And you don't want to burn too many bridges. I think everyone burns bridges in their life in general. And in career, most definitely, you burn bridges. But don't unnecessarily burn bridges. Leave it gracefully. Now you also have to be true to yourself. If the things I think about is, if you don't feel a certain way about someone, can you really express that? But when you work with a club, even if you did have issues with certain people, certain things with the club, there's no possible way that there wasn't a certain group of people or a certain amount of people that you truly cared for. And I've always had good relations with my players. So even if I were possible to have an issue with the club, I can't disrespect the club without disrespecting the players, or even not just the players, with directors and even anyone, the janitor and other coaches. You have good relationship with them, and you can't forget when you're saying something about the club, it does affect them. And then the question is it worth it? Is it worth it? And it's easy for me to say now. I've never been in that situation where I'm like, you know what? It is worth me going out and saying something about this club. No, I've never been in that situation.
So if and I'll give two different ideas. We're saying that, okay, so being sacked and resigning yourself is different, number one.
That's different.
Okay, so I think I'll ask that question first. So let's say being sacked and resigned, does that change your answer?
Probably, but it also depends. It's cases. Look at Pochettino. If this is true, again, this is an ESPN article. Might have been Mark Ogden. I'm not sure. Big fan of his writing. Who said that Pochettino preferred to be fired, one, because it would look better than resigning, because resigning might be assigned to other clubs that he gave up, that he couldn't get it done.
Okay.
And two, because you obviously get a larger payout if you get fired. And I can't help but think that I'm not surprised that some coach's mind or anyone's mind that's their right, absolutely. And I have not been sacked or fired yet. I expect it to happen. I am not waiting on pins and needles, or I'm not excited about it, but I think it'll be a good experience. I don't hope to, but if it happens, it'll be a good experience. I think everything's experience.
So with that in mind,
it would sting a little bit more. It would definitely stick in the craw a little bit. Like, no, that is a bit of a failure. No one truly enjoys failing, even if you learn from it.
Okay, so I was reading up on Marcus Silva, and on one of his clubs, I can't remember off the top of my head which one it was, but he kind of spoke about how he felt the club was failing their fans in a sense. And so they're not meeting the expectations that they may have, and not meeting the expectations that should push the players to be the best they can be. Would you feel you can say that and still be respectable?
It still be respectful. That was the one that I was gonna say something. Then you stopped me there. I mean, I was gonna say, would I even say that? Would depend on how they treated me or what they said, because we don't know what's going on behind closed doors.
Of course.
And so if he's saying that, either he has a type of personality, or he feels that, hey, the first shot was fired by them or whatever, and I'm willing to say that, or he's just being honest. Because you also have to protect yourself, simply put.
Yeah.
One coach up against the club's going to win every time. Yeah. You got to protect yourself.
Yeah,
Exactly. You got your own career ahead of you. So he did what he had to do. I'm not saying I don't see myself saying that. I'm not trying to disrespect him in any way, but I haven't been in a situation. And at that high level, the tension is high. It affects you, it affects your family, it affects your players. And when you're fully invested in your players, and you feel that the club, or you're fully invested in the club or the fans, and you feel the club is not backing you, you're only going to react one way. Like they say that the worst form of hate is something that was first love. Like that's the most painful thing. Okay. But and so I wouldn't be surprised by
Okay,
that.
with that in mind, how difficult do you think it is to replace the sack manager? Because I think we've seen many opportunities to kind of have that kind of case study this season in the Premier League, as well as Serie A as well. AC Milan, we've seen many examples of that, sadly, over the last
Talk to about
6-7 years.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's longer, but I feel about it probably. We just saw Podolski lose his job, Jose come in.
Yep.
Where a lot of people on the hot seat, from Pellegrini to.
Yep.
Oh my gosh,
Who are you looking for?
Well, I was going to say Silva, but he just got
Oh,
fired.
Kovac at Bayern Munich got fired.
He didn't get fired? Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, okay. Yeah, I was gonna say he's on the hot seat too. So we see that it is happen. It does happen. And so I'll use two successful teams, Bayern.
Successful in what sense?
Successful in history.
Okay.
History, I would say history terms.
Because right now, it's
that's not good.
I mean, it's Bayern and it's Germany, so
It's
they're
Bayern.
gonna win.
They
But
could definitely win. But successful in history terms.
Mm-hmm.
Take AC out of this because we don't want to really put ourselves.
just let's don't talk about Milan anymore today. You're only gonna hurt yourself here.
It's you brought up with the other one.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Really. Okay, so between Bayern and Tottenham, we'll say, and even put in United, if Ole is to go,
Mm-hmm.
how do you replace that sack manager?
It's cheap to say it depends, but it does depend on the case. I've never fully exactly replaced a sack manager. I have replaced managers that have left the club or left the team, the club. And it depends on the situation. If they had a good relationship with the players, I don't want to say this without sounding like I'm patting myself on the back, but I feel like I've always been able to cultivate a good relationship with my players. I truly enjoy being with my players. So as long as you're real with your players, because I pride myself on never lying to my players, and that has its good points and its bad points, all right? Because when you got to say something, you got to say something. And they respect that. It might hurt at first or certain things, but they respect it, and you form that good relationship. The thing is the connection. When it's a beloved manager, that's going to be tough every single time. When it's a manager that lost the players, I'm not going to say it's going to be easy, because there's going to be a little mistrust. It's like, it's a new guy, all right? Like, what are you going to do? Okay? But it will be a little bit easier to create that connection. So now you just need to go in there with confidence. Okay, and then also you need to know your role. Are you gonna be there for a long time, or are you gonna be there for 6 months and they know you're only gonna be there for 6 months and they're gonna be out in 3 years? Not everyone can be a goose hitting. All right, not everyone can be a goose.
Goose hitting is a legend.
Okay,
if you don't know the man, look him up. Dutch legend.
All right, not everyone could be. You got it, and that is. I truly find what he does so impressive.
Oh, what? Every
so
time,
so
man,
impressive.
Come and get some draws, baby.
Well,
let's stay level.
I'd rather say it's difficult than it's easy. I'm gonna lean. Okay. If we're gonna absolutely generalize it, which I am loath to do, I would say it's more difficult than easy. And then there's so much going into it, especially at that level.
I was gonna ask that. I was gonna say, based off right now, you're doing a lot of youth teams
right now, yeah,
a lot more. And so as you grow and get into more dealing with men,
been there before.
Well, I know you've dealt with it for sure, but more consistent basis. I'm curious to know the different approach is, because one thing I've always found interesting about young coaches is it's an interesting dichotomy between the appreciation for, oh, he's really doing this thing right now,
right,
and man, you see me to me. And how that outreach is, and sometimes even having coaches that are older than you, not coaches, players that are older than you, and how you respond to them. And so, given that situation, coming to a club where you may be that new hot shot on the market coach, like you said, the way you come in has to be different. But even the approach you have has to be different. Because I think that with, from my perspective, with youth, that caring approach with no nonsense attached to it is very, very effective. May not be as effective for every player on the men's team, based on the fact that they may have their own philosophy in place, and knowing how to reach them will be more of an individual tweak rather than a group philosophy.
Well, that's actually funny you say that, because I have worked on an extended period, well, for seasons with senior teams before, two in particular. And the first one, that was my first time working with the senior team. So I went in and I was like, all right, I got to tell them. The first speech was like, hey, I may be young, I may look young, and I may be younger than some of you, but you're gonna have to explain. It's gonna be like this, boom, boom, boom. So I was the right thing to do because you got to show that strength first. But then it was just being approachable and also having command at every single moment. They have to be willing to listen to you. So you've got to force them to listen to you. And then there was things like I remember for warm-ups, they're like, hey, could we get some time during warm-ups just among ourselves? Like, you control the warm-ups, but we would like 3 to 5 minutes where it's just us and we handle our things. And that's how they used to do it. And I was like, all right, no problem, because this is a very autonomous team. Yeah. Following next time, I changed clubs, and when I went to a new club and I started working with the senior team, I was like, I like that idea of them having a little bit of time just amongst themselves, and I do that now with my youth teams because I want them also to take responsibility and grow. But this team, I could not do that with. And there's no disrespect to them. It was just a very, very young senior team. Quite a few of them were even still with the youth teams, and they were not ready to come up into a man's team. And I was actually, for once, I was 24, 25. I was older than quite a few of the senior team players, which is crazy to say. I think there may be 3 to 5 players that were older than me, which is ridiculous, and that might be a stretch. But the caring with no nonsense is true. It's not going to work the same way. This is really with every single age group. I work with little kids under 5 as well to seniors. Everyone is gonna try to eat you. Like, they're gonna try to eat you alive, even if it's not voluntary. Like, a little kid will push your buttons. No, a grown man or woman will push your buttons. They will all try to push your buttons. You just gotta not flinch. You gotta be fully confident. That is very, very important. And you gotta have conviction. I remember I was talking to a coach when I was in Brazil. He told me about his time in Angola. He was coaching in Angola, and he said you have to have conviction. And if throughout the entire year you review things at the end of the year, if things are going badly, you stick to your principles and you go all the way to the end of the year. And I thought about it, and I haven't fully accepted that. Like, if you see something's going wrong and you think you can fix it, maybe you should switch it. You still stick to that one particular conviction. But I understand what he's saying. So you need to have conviction, and you need to know your shit. Pardon the language. Don't worry. I don't talk like this to my younger players. But it's about strength, it's about being competent, then it's about being confident and being true. You've got to be true. Anyone can sniff when you're being false, especially if you're spending regular amounts of time with them every single day or every single week. They can tell when you're being false. Okay. So be true. Okay.
So be true. I like your response.
Is the interrogation
I think
over?
I have one more.
Oh, we have one more.
And so this is one I was thinking about after watching Chelsea's victory against Aston Villa.
Yes, of course.
And then also watching the match between United and Tottenham. And I'm curious, and I've always wanted this in sports, and I play sports myself. And I've coached at least basketball team 5-3. Never forget it.
Okay. Yes.
Grudge matches seem to bring out the best in players. Why do you think that is in terms of players, and what do you think it brings to coaches as well?
You mentioned that you might bring this one up, and I actually wanted to find an analogy that had nothing to do with sports, but I couldn't quite. Oh, there you go. I found it right there. All right. So quite a few of us in the world have been in that situation where, boom, you're out, you see your ex, and you say, oh, the ex is going to be at the party? All right, let me make sure I'm looking fly, I'm fresh, everything, boom, boom, boom. I want to be hot. Why do we do that?
I think it's presentation and want to show them that we're in a better place now without them.
It's a similar thing. It's a similar thing with sport. All right, particularly with this match, I'm going to go a little specific, but particularly with this Manchester United situation, when Mourinho had said so much about once again, our colleague is looking over here, and he's a Manchester United fan, and he's not happy with what we're talking. All these comments have been horrible. But honestly, speaking about this Manchester United top, the fact that Mourinho said comments and he said how much he enjoyed the Tottenham and some of the I wouldn't say antics because I don't want to be disrespectful, but some of the things he said and did, they didn't sit well with some of these Manchester United players. But furthermore, it was everything around. Forget Mourinho. It's what we were saying, what the media was saying, what the fans, Twitter, everyone was saying. They were either taking Mourinho's side or taking United's side, and some few a little more judiciously were saying it's a little bit of both. But if they were to go there, or actually play at home, against Mourinho, who's only in his 3rd or 4th game in charge of Tottenham, so they're nowhere near his team yet. Yeah. and they were to lose or play badly, it would be confirmation that it was them. Even though the confirmation is, you would say, is kind of sort of there, seeing as how Ole is struggling, though some would say that Ole should never have gotten the job. And that's a different conversation. And that he might not be the manager for Manchester United. But that's a different conversation. That's a different conversation. You're right. I'm so sorry about that. But if they were to fail at that moment there, all the knives would come out, and that is not a reference to the movie. They would destroy these kids. They would destroy these kids, and they could not allow it. And these men, and they're all kids.
I will say this,
and it was just the pride, simple pride.
I'll give pride, and one thing I saw someone say is that they do seem to step up for the big games. And as a Chelsea fan, I don't know what the hell.
I hate to say, there's almost less pressure when you're the underdog playing in a big game, because now Manchester United is the underdog, and so it's like we got nothing to lose. Let's go for it.
I say maybe this underdog, but also I think
they do have that.
They get chatted up for it. They get excited, like, wait, you know who you are? You know what that badge means? Mm-hmm. Okay, you better go out there and represent.
Yeah. And Ole, I'm sure, motivates them as well. So it is that. I mean, I've never gone up against my old team. But I have had teams in my mind where I'm like, yeah, I want them back. I always tell my players, I am not in the habit of losing twice to the same team. I have lost twice to the same team before. I think maybe to 2 or 3 teams in my entire career. Doesn't sit right with me. It stings, but they know. And so I start talking. Let's say we lose to a team in week 3, and then we face them again in week 12. I'm going to mention it a few times, not often, because we still need to stay focused on the team coming up. I might mention it a few times throughout the weeks just to let them know, like, hey, we're not losing twice to the same team. It's that sense of pride, that sense of, hey, we got to get back out there. We got to redeem ourselves for the way we played. We've got to do all of these things. And that's the thing. Or a rival team. I remember my very first win as a coach. We were strong. I was young. I didn't know what was. We won against our rival team. That was the first win, and then we went on a run of I don't know how many wins.
Power behind the win, man.
And that's true, but especially against that particular opponent. But then we did an end of season tournament, and we were winning all these games. We brought 2 teams together, and it was just like, all right, well, this game here, this isn't very important. Let's put in some of these players that haven't been playing as much. My fellow coach he wasn't really feeling it, but I was like, no, let's do this. It's okay. Let's do this. And we shouldn't have done it. We did it against the rival team, and we lost. My president of the club, when we got home, slapped me. It was a love tap. All right, it was a love tap actually, just to let me know we don't. And he laughed with it, and I laughed with it too. The other coach, got 2 slaps. To be fair, 2 love taps, I should say. To be fair, just so we know, I don't do this with my players. To make that very clear, I don't do this with my players. But there was no issue there whatsoever. It was just natural. It was in France. It was cool. It's fine. But that lets you know how it feels. It's there. You have something there. You're a fan. Name one team you would absolutely hate losing to in a final in particular, or just hate losing to, period.
Well, Arsenal.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah,
there you go.
I actually remember our first loss to them. I think it was either Community Shield or something else. After Josie had left the second time, I was like, "What are we doing?" And it hurt because we don't lose.
You to them. You guys didn't have Drogba anymore, but
okay.
So is the interrogation? Is the interrogation over?
I thought I had one more point, but I think I'll leave that.
We do have a few more topics to get to, but I don't even know if I can breathe. I mean, I think we'll go on to the next one. To the man you brought up and comparing him to Richarlison, Kylian Mbappe of PSG, formerly of Monaco.
What a talent!
Why don't you tell us how you feel about him first? I'm curious.
My biggest thing is I think he's an outstanding player. I think we have to, with any player, I think, when they play in a league that is not as competitive, no disrespect to Ligue 1, you have to kind of quantify some aspects.
We do got to talk about Ligue 1 because I think that's one of the most fascinating leagues to see up-and-coming stars. They develop players, and it is also a very interesting way they play. Sorry.
I know. I think between them and the Germans, they do a really good job.
As well.
But I think I just saw a stat recently. I didn't know this. He has assisted or scored on maybe not every goal, but the number was very high. So I have to double check that, but it was very
He had
impressive.
a ridiculous percentage of goal contributions, basically.
Yeah, ridiculous amount, and I was okay. Wow, and I do not think that would definitely sustain that high level. I may be wrong because everyone's deeming him as the next Ronaldo, Messi heir.
The next one to be at that level,
Yes.
or maybe the only one to be at that level.
Well, we'll see what's his face. But,
What's his face?
Not Neymar, but okay. And honestly, I feel Hazard should be up there, but he's not had a great start to his Real Madrid career. But I do think he's a fantastic player. That speed alone is scary. It's terrifying.
He scored in the World Cup final.
Terrifying. And his skill,
He doesn't fear the moment.
He does not
Pure
fear the
skill.
moment. He some of the things he did in the World Cup final, I was like, you know
where you are right now? Exactly.
You better calm down. You know, like, this is disrespectful, number one.
He is special.
And so
He's
very talented. Very talented. I have really high hopes for him. I'm curious to see where he will move to.
That was actually the main part of the topic, but I will say he was one. I'm very, very late. I like to be late to say, oh, this young player is going to be a star. He was one who was like, yeah, I can't hold it off anymore. He's going to be a star. And wow, I think his attitude makes him great. I think he is very composed and calm and educated. And
he does that thing I don't like with some players, and I think
what's that thing? You got to disclose something.
I like some grit. Don't get me wrong. You know, I like a lot of grit sometimes. You know, I was Zlatan, Mario Balotelli.
A lot of grit.
Cockiness
Cockiness
is different than grit.
That's what I'm saying. It's like because grit is you need grit. Every player needs grit. You need a fight. Do we have the same definition of grit?
Sometimes it's a little overboard, and he does.
In terms of fighting for the ball, determination. That's what grit is to me.
Okay, so maybe it's the wrong term to use then.
What are you looking for?
I'm looking for his. He's annoying. I'll just say that he's annoying sometimes. He's annoying.
Andrew Robertson of Liverpool annoys the heck out of every team he goes up against.
Andrew Robertson is more of an irritant, which is something you do as a defender. I think to upset the players.
What you're saying, Mbappe is just his personality?
I think he. Well, when I say I'm another guy, he's like cool enough outside the pitch, but I truly feel some of the things he does are juvenile.
He's also 20. 21?
Is
he 20?
He might just I think he's still 20, but he might be still 21.
I think he is still 20. I'm curious.
So, I would say those things irritate
Turn
me.
21 later this month.
And sometimes I think those aren't helpful to his team, but that is the learning he has to do. Outside of that, I have no problem with him.
To be fair, when you score and assist as much as he does and have such an effect, you can do some supposedly harmful things to your team. No, I'm kidding.
Harmful.
But I don't exactly. I guess I understand what you're saying, but to me, it's not an issue when you're 20 and you've done what he's done and what he's doing and how he has portrayed himself. I think is a down to earth young man, and I think he will fit in. Down to earth young man for what he is. All right, because for a superstar at the age of 20, how many down to earth 20-year-olds do you know? Let alone superstar 20-year-olds.
Well, I think we just take the down to earth out in general.
Exactly.
So,
all right, but I think he will fit in perfectly at Real Madrid. Because where else is he going? No, I'm kidding. I don't see him going anywhere else.
I have nowhere in my mind where I think he can actually fit. Well, he fit anywhere. Let me fix that statement. He fit anywhere, but I don't see who can afford him.
Well, that's a different question.
Bigger thing.
That's a different.
I think he can fit anywhere and he can choose anywhere. But
people are talking about Operation Mbappe for Liverpool, and I'm like, that's not gonna happen.
For what?
It could happen.
What reason? Same with him and Sancho.
I don't believe it, but
Sancho. Who's coming to sit on that bench? Because I don't see you dethroning two older players who are in
their prime
and excelling. Mind you, neither one of these players were Ballon d'Or
top three
or top five.
Mine was top four.
I'm also gonna say 2 years ago. Look where they are now.
Okay. Oh, that's okay.
That is outstanding. Outstanding. So I don't know. I think you bring in a young talent for Liverpool. Just side note. But that's the whole difference.
I mean, what if they go to a 4-2-3-1 with Firmino playing the 10, Salah up top, and Sancho on the right? Even though that kind of takes Salah away from. I agree. I think I don't Well, we're not talking about Sancho. I don't see it happening, but we're not talking about Sancho. Mbappe.
Chelsea.
Mbappe for Juventus. It's the money. It's the money. It's the money. It's the money.
Once again, Juventus. Why go there? His idol is Ronaldo. He would probably like to play with him, but then how many people would get that ball in that team?
Higuain and it would eventually have to be moved on.
Many people.
Dybala might have to be moved on. Ronaldo might be moved on.
They try to get rid of both of those guys.
But Dybala
and now they're both saving them in games.
Barcelona.
I would love it, but
they want Neymar. We're gonna talk about no. That's not bringing up. No, not today. That's too much. Too much.
The amount of money.
It has to be Real Madrid for me in terms of just financial. Yeah. What he wants. It has to be a big club. And so that's really
it has to step up. And
so
many other clubs that
I mean, let's say the teams that would count as big clubs that he might consider. I'm gonna throw Manchester United in there.
Would you really? Why?
Because I think that I just want to throw them in there for the heck of it. All right.
You know what?
United. We'll put Liverpool and City and Juventus and Bayern Munich and Barcelona and Real Madrid. And that might be everything I can put in. Sorry, no disrespect to the other Italian teams. Now, in terms of that's in terms of financially as well. I'm not gonna lie. All right, and then we're gonna say that the actual possible ones. I just don't see City. I guess they could if they sold a lot of people.
It's so selfish
because they need the money, but it feels like it has to be Real Madrid. It feels destined. And when you say things like that, it usually means it's not going to come true. So it's going to be Real Madrid or Barcelona because Suarez is eventually going to have to go. Messi said apparently that in 2 years he's out. Apparently, but then again, we'll see. We'll see.
Okay, so I'll say this with Real Madrid. Think about the wingers right now. So Bale's probably gonna leave. He's
been probably gonna leave for about 17 years
based off his contract. So we'll see. Hazard just came having kind of tough start based between injury and just circumstance, but I have no. I'm sorry, he's gonna do great. I have no worries with that. Rodrigo, phenomenal talent, very young. Vinicius Jr., phenomenal talent, very young. I forget anybody. Lukas
Vasquez, but that's not even.
I'm just saying they have a lot of players, and I know.
But it's Real Madrid. It doesn't matter. That's what I don't understand.
I know who take precedence, but they just spent $100 million on Hazard. They just spend 50 or so on Jovic. They spend
and on Mendy and yes, you're
money. It doesn't grow on trees.
Apparently, it does for some.
Like United, but
I'd say more City honestly because they're owned by a. We're not gonna bring that in. We're not gonna bring that in. All right. Yeah. We are getting a little long in the tooth in this one, so we're gonna go to. Should we go to that last topic? Because this is a topic that is I'm a little passionate about, if you will.
I say go for it.
Go for it. All right. So Miroslav Klose made some comments on youth coaches. Okay, and I'm just gonna read what he said. He said, "How do I strengthen his strengths and work on his weaknesses when talking about a player? I have the feeling that many youth coaches themselves want to rise up in professional soccer because they know that they can earn more money there. As I said, that's only a feeling. But whoever collects titles in the youth branch naturally commends himself for higher positions. At least many think that." Can I speak on it for a little bit?
You want me to go first?
I'll go for it.
I feel like you may want to go on a tangent since you're a little more passionate.
I wouldn't say a tangent.
Well, not tangent, but a good speech. A good speech. There you go. I'll put it that way. So, I see this two ways. You and I discussed this in terms of talking about what a youth coach is there to do. And I think Miroslav Klose hits it on the nail perfectly when he talks about what they should do.
Definitely.
I think the problem is if you're as successful as you want to be and you reach those heights, why not move up? Why stay stagnant? And I know it's difficult sometimes to get comfortable, but at the same time, don't you want new challenges? Don't you want new places to go and venture and try to test out your philosophies in different lands, different jobs, different titles? So I do think what he is saying is very good for the ones that are so eager to jump up. He himself was offered a higher position when he just started, but he was humble enough to say, I don't think I deserve that quite yet. Thank you for the position, but I like to stay at this level for a little better so I feel a little more confident to move forward. So I don't think that level of admiration for the job is given enough to each and every player, but I definitely think for sure that it's something that it's a tough one. It's a tough one. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Well, first I will say that I agree, and that's what a youth coach should be, and that's how I see myself. As I said before, as I always tell my players, my youth players, I am a player coach first, as in the focus is the player and improving the player as much as possible. That at times might mean sacrificing things for the team, that the team has to sacrifice for the player. I want the player to be a team first player where he's going to sacrifice for the team, but I am going to try to bring out the best in that player, and the team might have to serve for it, because the ultimate goal is to produce players that will reach a certain level, and also, of course, to enrich them as young women and men. However, also, sorry, you said, why not move up? I remember speaking to a coach, and we were talking about another coach at another club, and he was like, wait, that guy is still in U10, U11? That was under 11v11. He's like, what? He never got the chance to move up, never wanted to move up, just wanted to stay down there? And he said it jokingly. It was a good friend of mine, a good colleague. But the way I thought it was, moving up, and I put that in quotation marks, through age groups doesn't literally mean you're moving up in importance. It might mean moving up in status, but doesn't mean moving up in importance. And I've said it a few times that I feel that the most important coaches in certain clubs, especially amateur, just beneath that pro club, are those U11 and under. Those are the most important. Okay, because that is, for some, it might be less rewarding. I admit I can't do it. Me has to be U13, U14 and up. I love working with younger kids, but on a regular basis, it's not my biggest passion. So I wouldn't say it's moving up. I don't want to disrespect coaches that are working with younger kids. They're fantastic. But my issue with Miroslav Klose you said that he was humble enough to say, no, I don't think I'm ready for that. I don't deserve that. He can say that because he's a former professional player who won the World Cup. Right. Someone else who didn't play professionally says no to that might never get that opportunity again. He might never get that opportunity again. And you know what? They can earn more money there. You know what? When you're a millionaire, maybe you can say that. But if someone who has never won millions, can you really tell them you shouldn't try to earn more money? And thirdly, honestly, I know a lot of coaches. I've been in the game coaching less than 10 years. But I gotta say, there are definitely coaches out there that want to move up for money. But a lot of these coaches want to move up for sheer ambition. And I'm not saying it's better, but if you're going to call them out completely correctly is what I'm saying. And I'm not going to lie, like, I don't have ambition and I don't want more money, but I do know that I put my players first. But how come a player is allowed to say, you know what? I don't want to play Europa League anymore. I want to play Champions League and I want to compete for titles, but a coach cannot. When it's a youth coach, you're absolutely right. The focus is a young player. But if he should be in a place, if you say, all right, well, he shouldn't be youth coach, he should be coaching somewhere higher up. How is he going to do that if he doesn't succeed with the youth coaches? And I think you have to understand that. And I think it comes down to the clubs to understand the coaches you have and then to put them in a situation where it's like, all right, well, you can fulfill this ambition knowing full what your role is. All right, it would be perfect if every coach was completely, well, not perfect because you do. If you have that own self-ambition, it comes out in the players and it helps them level up as well. Okay, and also that ambition means wanting to win, and you also have to teach players how to win. All right, learning how to win is something. It's not just you learn how to control the ball or learn how to take care of your body or be more disciplined. You have to learn how to win as well. And I think this was unfair to quite a few players, and I understand it because he's never been in that situation. Yes, he had to struggle. He started from the bottom to make it to the top as a professional player, but he never started at the bottom as a coach. And when you're going to take a shot at someone without having lived their experience, I think is very unfair. And this is something I'm particularly passionate about. I do not feel targeted by this because I know and I have fought and turned with myself about sacrificing for the team, for the player, and I've consistently made that decision. And even when knowing full well that it will make me look bad in terms of results or in terms of not even results, because if you're good enough, or not always, circumstances change, but you can still get the result while sacrificing things for the team. But it's about that one moment. It's like, oh, we're really gonna struggle here, or we won't be able to do this drill the way I need us to, or this kid is gonna struggle for a little bit here, but it's gonna benefit him, or the team cannot build the way we should because this kid is playing in a certain position, and he'll be great 6 months from now, but right now he's gonna struggle. I've consistently made that decision, so I don't feel targeted by this. But I don't think it's fair to youth coaches, especially when they don't have the platform to respond. They do not have anywhere near the platform he has to respond. And so I think it's unfair on that point. I think it's unfair when you haven't been in that situation. I think it's missing the point a little because some of it is money, but a lot of it is personal ambition, which they have their right to have. If we say players are allowed to have that, and coaches are allowed to have that as well. And that's how I feel about it. I still love Miroslav Klose. A big fan of his. Former top goal scorer at the did someone pass his level?
I think so.
Yes, it was. Was it Muller? I can't believe
it.
Can't believe I'm blanking on. I'm so sorry, Close. This is disrespectful.
No, Klose passed phenomenal Ronaldo.
No, he's the all-time. He was the all-time winner, leader. It's still close. Oh, thank goodness! I'm so disrespectful.
I thought Muller
sorry
would,
about that.
Based off.
Yeah, I was expecting him.
So many goals so early in his career.
When I was younger, I knew a little bit less about the game. But yeah, so that's how I feel about it. I didn't think it was fair at all.
Funny fact. I think both of them did against them.
Klose and Ronaldo? Who are you talking about? I don't
I know Ronaldo got his
record. Oh, you're talking about record breakers. Okay.
Ghana, which is hurtful.
Funnily enough, the Germans have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the top few or top several of world record holders for goal scoring.
They were for a long time.
They were killers.
Yeah,
they're monsters. Klinsmann, man, we don't talk enough about Klinsmann. I'm not gonna lie.
I was thinking about him actually. Him and what's the guy's name? Bayern. Gerd Müller.
Yeah. Of course. Well, that one that's another one there. So yeah, that's how I feel. I don't think it's fair. And it's just when you haven't lived it and you haven't had to go through it. And I'm not pretending like it's a painful thing. Like we made our youth coaches make our decisions, and I don't regret any of them. And I love it. And he's right. I've seen it. Like I get upset with coaches like that. Like I don't say anything because it's not my business. If you're handling your own, we're not on the same club. That's fine. If we're on the same club, that might be different. And it does get to me. But this is unfair to me. This is unfair.
Well, I think it's more so him expressing probably his frustration, especially now that he's working more directly with the youth players, and that might be his passion speaking before his head.
Because he's also been in that situation, and he may have felt that he has had coaches that haven't put him and his teammates first, which is understandable.
Since you just said he started off the 7th division at his hometown club at age 20.
I actually did not know that.
At age 20, so started late for football. So,
and look at him, 16 goals at the World Cup. I mean,
the man's not a joke.
Struggled for club, but when it came to country, he was something special.
Rise to the occasion. You
gotta do what you gotta do. And well, I think that after about an hour and a half of talking, maybe our listeners might be a little bit tired. Would you like to say anything before
I think make sure to go check us out on our Twitter. That is Seiko Sonar. Seiko Sonar, CEICO, and Sonar with 2 A's.
Yes.
On Twitter. Check us out and look for more episodes coming up.
Speaking of more episodes, we will be uploading a couple episodes from my time in France. I was recently in France, so those episodes were recorded before this very first one. I will have a guest, a friend, a colleague, basketball coach, a French basketball coach actually, who was in Barcelona right now, living in Barcelona, and he's going to talk a little bit about the French game. He's going to talk a little bit about basketball. He's from Lyon. We're going to talk about the World Cup last year and just his thoughts as a fan, but also as a coach, because I personally love talking to coaches of different sports. So we will have 2 episodes from my time in France. One just me, a very small one just for a little taste, and another with a great friend and colleague. Okay. Stay tuned. We will be adding many more episodes on your way. We hope to get many more guests. And also, keep your eye out for the ToroFoot website that is coming soon. Once again, it is full of analysis, articles, images, and is once again just another great place for us to, as I said, broaden our horizons. So thank you very much, and let's talk to you next time.